Well, good evening, family. Welcome to our February edition of our ILCA 5-day challenge. My name is your Queen Connectress, Miss Marnita Casa, and I will be your humble hostess for this evening. Now, there is something that I always like to say, and that is we totally understand there are so many different things that you could be doing with your time, and that the nighttime is the right time for family and for preparation of the next day. So the fact that you guys are here, ready to hear what we have to say, it makes us so very happy. So again, thank each and every one of you for being here. And my goodness, what a powerful, powerful 5-day challenge we have had this month. My goodness, thank goodness. My goodness, this has been such a valuable and informational 5-day challenge, family. First, we started off learning about what is the blockchain. We learned about how do cryptocurrencies work. We heard from Professor Oscar Sistrunk that was blowing my mind, right? My goodness, I can't wait to hear from him again. Then last night, we talked about wallet security, and that is one that I think everybody that was here last night, everybody that might have missed it, definitely needs to go over that one. And then tonight we will actually be learning about, let me make sure I have this correct. Yes, what are CBDCs? Have you guys been watching the news? Yes, that is something we definitely need to learn about. So you guys be prepared, get yourself a pen and a paper, get ready to write down some notes. And as my VIPs are coming on in, I see everyone. Hello, thank you guys so very much for being here. Please type your name and where you are from in that chat box. That way I get a chance to tell everybody. Hello, Leonard. Get a chance to tell everybody who is on our YouTube channel, who is here on the VIP side with us. So starting off with my angel herself, her name is Miss Joyce Easley. Hello, Queen, how are you? Thank you so very much for being here. I see you, Joyce, you got that pen and paper ready. I know that's right. Joyce is ready, family. That's how we all should be. I see we have the beautiful Empress herself. I'm talking about Miss Catherine Clement. Hello, how are you, beautiful Empress? Thank you so very much for being here with us this evening. As you guys saw, Papa Leonard is in the house. He is usually representing La Quinta, California. Hello, sir. Thank you so very much for being here with us this evening. I see Jamal is here coming on in from Pasadena. Hello, sir. How are you? There he goes. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, King. It's always good to see you. I see we also have the beautiful Miss Chris Delgado is here. Hi, Chris. There she is. Hi, baby. How are you? Thank you so very much for being here. It is always good to see you. Of course, my main man, his name is CJ, coming on in from Arizona. Booyah. Yes, sir. Hi, CJ. Thank you so much for being here. It is always good to see you, my friend. I see we also have Mr. Clairvaux Albert. Hello, sir. How are you? He is coming all the way in from Connecticut. Thank you so very much for being a part of our community, sir. And there he is. Elton, hello, sweetheart. How are you? It's always good to see you. Thank you so very much for being here with us this evening. Of course, we have the beautiful Miss Rita B, representing San Diego, California. Hello, Queen. How are you? I see Miss Carla Arrigo is in the house. Hello, sweetheart. She is representing St. Louis, Missouri. Carla and I, there you are, baby. Carla and I had a phenomenal meeting. She is one of our first ILCA partners. Thank you so very much for being here with us, love. I see we also have Miss Doreen Buckner. Hi, Miss Doreen. How are you? She is coming all the way in from Anguilla. Now, I want to tell all my friends on YouTube, hello, everybody. We love you. But I want to tell you guys, this is usually bittersweet for me today because we won't see each other until the Monday night recap and then not until the following month. But you have the opportunity to learn, to grow, to have fun with us every single day of the week by becoming an ILCA member. We have 3 different memberships you can choose from. We have the inner circle, we have diamond membership, and then the one that everybody, in my opinion, needs to be a part of is our platinum membership, where you can reap the benefits of everything that Ivy League Coaching Academy has to offer. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get our party started. Again, thank you all so very much. Oh, you're so fine. I see you, Miss Patty. Mwah. Thank you all so very much for joining us on our February edition of the ILCA 5-Day Challenge. My name is your Queen Connectress, Miss Marnita Casa, and I will be your humble hostess for this evening. Now, it is my honor to introduce you all to a man that for over 25 years dominated the direct sales industry. His cryptocurrency education is used by companies and universities worldwide. For over 8 years, he dedicated his life to learning about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, but he didn't just stop there. He decided to go out and share his information with the masses, and this was done by putting on fun and exciting Bitcoin boot camps nationwide at no cost. He has built thriving communities and wonderful platforms like you see before you now. So without further ado, it is my honor to introduce you all to Mr. Brandon Ivey.
All right. Thank you, Miss Casa, for that introduction, and welcome everybody to the 5-Day Challenge. This is day 5. If you're still here, congratulations. I clap for you because you have made it the entire week. So I hope you've learned enough information that this whole idea of crypto and blockchain is exciting you a little bit to want to learn more. In fact, this whole week is designed just to open the door of what blockchain and crypto is all about. And when I started to just open that door, I ran right through it. But I cannot say that I did it immediately, because I didn't. I was just showing an image to Miss Casa earlier today of a post I made on Facebook in 2014, where I was praising a member on my team in another company who was based out of, she's from San Francisco, but a patriot over to Japan. She moved there, opened a restaurant called the Pink Cow, and she made national news in Japan as being the first establishment to have a Bitcoin ATM machine. And I posted about it. It was August of 2014, and every year Facebook memories brings that up. Did I get into Bitcoin in 2014? No. Do you know what the price of Bitcoin was in 2014? Like 200 something dollars a coin. What is that price today? Now people are thinking Bitcoin is crashing right now, but it's still over $80,000 a coin. So in the grand scheme of things, in the great timeline of Bitcoin, the price it is right now is at the highest that it has ever been in its entire history. So this is the right place at the right time. You're not too late to get started. As a lot of people say, well, Brandon, it's been around for a while. Did I miss my chance? No, you didn't. Where the technology is today is where the internet was in the 90s. And one thing I'm excited about tonight, and I'm a little nervous, is because this is a week where I've been unveiling new courses. We just finished 3 new courses with decentralization, security, and CBDCs. And always at the beginning of the year, the first 5-day challenges, I unveil some of those courses. And tonight I'm doing a lesson I have never done before, and it always makes me a little nervous. So you guys are going to be my guinea pigs at the same time, because I'm going to be teaching it. And it's one thing putting it together, one thing recording it, and then it's another when I do it live. So I'm going to be able to tell, like I did the other night with decentralization, did I do it in a way that is teachable and not just word salad thrown at you. So we'll see how this goes on tonight. But I do want to emphasize that you guys, that take this week and this knowledge that you're gaining, and don't let it just stop there. Take this information and then put it into action. Further your education, and whether it's by being a part of our ILCA community, or whether it is you decide you want to go on your own to try to figure things out like I did, which I don't advise to do, but that's your prerogative to do. Or if you can find any other agency out there that is going to teach you this and kind of gives you that personal attention, then do so because you're going to be far better off with this knowledge and information than without it. And I want everybody to be able to eat here, whether you're at my table or at a different table. Just as long as you're doing something so you can put food on your table, and this industry can make that happen. So two things that I want to reiterate that I learned back in May of 2017 that changed my life, and I always share this story, is that I realized that blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, trust it or not, your opinion of it is irrelevant. And that includes especially the finance space. Our money that we use right now, physical cash that we're used to. We're moving way more to a digital economy where most people don't carry cash on them at all. I only carry cash on me if I'm traveling around, just in case I have to pay tips. There's tolls, parking, little things like that. When I'm going to the hotel and the bellhop, I like to tip, that kind of thing. But mostly just my phone and debit cards is all you really need. If you're in certain parts of Asia, you never have physical money on you. Your phone is attached to all your accounts, whether it's through a private bank or through the company that you work for. If you're in China or if you're in South Korea, this is how things are done, especially Hong Kong. But in America, we're still kind of used to having cash and lying around. But in the future, that's going to be gone. Now, what's going to take the place of that cash? What's going to be the digital equivalent to it? Now, when I was looking at this last year, when I was thinking about the new topics I was going to create for 2025, one of the hot topics was CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Now, this has been in the plans, not recently. This has been in the plans for almost a decade. The decision to make this happen has already been made.
Well, good
However,
evening,
oh, wait a
family.
second. Why do I hear?
Welcome to our
Hold on one
February
second.
edition
I hear
of
Marnita.
our ILCA 5 day challenge.
Oh, that was on YouTube. That's on my side. No, no, no. It was me streaming on our Zoom channel, our YouTube channel, and it just popped up when I shared screen. So, am I still sharing? Yes. Yeah, okay, you're on my screen too. It was my other screen that popped that up. But like I was saying, CBDCs has already been decided that this is what's going to happen in America. However, if you've been paying attention to politics, especially during the primary campaigns for president last year, Ron DeSantis, Senator Ted Cruz, and others on the Republican Party came out and publicly blasted the idea of CBDCs, even so far as Ron DeSantis wanted to write law that the state of Florida would never entertain the idea of CBDC. And then in the presidential election, Donald Trump himself jumped on that same bandwagon and said that if he was elected president, he would ban the idea of a CBDC. And that's exactly what he did. Now that he's president, he signed an executive order saying that the United States will not pursue nor launch a CBDC. So this is something that, whether again we understand it or like it or not, is in our discourse. We have to pay attention to know what it is and why. Why would the president want to ban it when 98% of all the other countries are moving ahead with this? But it also led into something that I started to realize this year after I put this course together, something called stable coins. Now, you might be familiar with Tether. You hear that term, USDT, or USDC, that's backed by Circle, a stable coin where it is a crypto token that never changes in value. It's one to the US dollar. So I said this the other night, education's so important because our policies are going to dictate that you understand well, no, it doesn't matter if you understand it or not. This is what's going to be happening on and upon us. Three things you're going to start hearing about. You're going to hear cryptocurrencies, you're going to hear stable coins, you're going to hear CBDCs, and they're all not the same thing. But all three of them are in the digital space. So Wednesday night, we talked about decentralization. CBDCs. Now I'm going to give you this question answer up front is not decentralized. Okay, so whenever you hear that term, it is not a crypto coin. It is not decentralized. So let's jump on into this. And this lesson is just an introduction to CBDCs, understanding the basics. So when was the last time you paid for something with cold hard cash while physical currency is still widely used all around the world? People in some countries have been using it a lot less lately, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic when it's cash shortages and hygiene concerns. You remember back then there was like a quarter shortage, and there were a lot of places that even said we don't accept cash. Well, as people shift away from cash, many are increasingly turning to digital financial transactions. Globally, banks and financial institutions process far more transactions digitally than they do in physical branches. A variety of recent digital disruptions, including the emergence of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, have made waves in the financial services sector. Digital currencies are part of that story, and central banks have started to take note. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, are the digital form of a government issued currency that isn't pegged to a physical commodity. So, again, if I take this physical dollar, what is this pegged to? What is it tied to? Somebody put it in the chat box. What makes this have value? Who knows the answer to that? Hmm. Catherine says a promise. Marnita says trust. Papa Leonard says faith. Joyce says trust. What about you guys on YouTube? Anybody know? What gives this value? You're all right. Trust is not backed by gold, is not backed by oil, is not backed by anything but trust of the US government. Now, in light of recent politics, does the whole world trust the US government? Not necessarily so. I mean, we're seeing that start to erode. We're seeing a trend of moving away from the US dollar if you've been paying attention. Those of you in our inner circle already know the answer to that. We're seeing a whole movement behind this. But this is what's backing the dollar, trust. A CBDC is a digital version of this. If another country creates a CBDC, it will be a digital version of their own currency. So every country that comes out with a CBDC is just a digitized version of this. Okay, so I just want that to make note that that's established. So they are issued by central banks, whose role is to support financial services for a nation's government and its commercial banking system, set monetary policy, and issue currency. So it's not the government that is issuing it. I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here, because the president represents the government. The president signed a bill having no CBDC, but the CBDCs will be issued by the banks. And our Federal Reserve is not the government. I'm speaking this way really for my inner circle to understand why I say the decision's already been made. It doesn't matter what the president says or does. They're not the same. The president has no, if he did, the president will be able to walk into Fort Knox right now. And he hasn't, because he doesn't have the power to do so. He needs permission. And if he needs permission, who's giving that permission? Who really owns the power? Another revelation I made with my mom when I was explaining this is she loves Game of Thrones. And you had, remember, the Lannisters were in control of King's Landing. And the Cersei didn't understand how things worked. And her father, Tywin Lannister, said, no, the Iron Bank is the real power. So if a CBDC were going to be created in that world of Game of Thrones, it wouldn't be King's Landing creating the CBDC. It would be the Iron Bank creating the CBDC. So I needed you guys to get that visual so you understand going forward. So everybody get that. Anybody confused by what I said is not the government, it's the banks. And Bank of America, for example, has had 70 patents on blockchain technology since 2016. Same with Chase or JP Morgan and all the rest. So they're issued by central banks whose role is to support financial services for a nation's government and its commercial banking system, set monetary policy, and issue currency. Examples of central banks include the US Federal Reserve System, the Bank of Japan, the People's Bank of China, and Germany's Deutsche Bundesbank. CBDCs are similar to, but not the same as stablecoins. In fact, I will be, because of what we've been learning in Inner Circle the last 2 months, I will be creating a whole new course series just on stablecoins because stablecoins are going to have a more immediate impact in the United States and around the world before CBDCs do. So I'll be creating. That's next on the top of my list, and I have a long list of different topics to create lessons on. So stablecoins are a specific type of private stabilized cryptocurrency pegged to another currency, commodity, or financial instrument, with the goal of maintaining a relatively stable value over time. Unlike cryptocurrencies, which are decentralized, CBDCs are state issued and operated. Let me repeat that one more time. Unlike cryptocurrencies, which are decentralized, CBDCs are state issued and operated, which means they are centralized tokens, digital tokens. So understanding CBDCs. If you follow the world of crypto, DeFi, or the general landscape of blockchain related initiatives, you probably started hearing more about central bank digital currencies or CBDCs in the past year. While study of the subject has been steadily growing for a while, 2020 saw a slew of new projects and exciting milestones, like the arrival of the first live CBDC in the Bahamas. As surveys showed that 86% of central bank respondents had a CBDC initiative underway. So that is another quiz question right there. Who was the first to have a live version of a CBDC? The answer is the Bahamas. This momentum in experimentation is accompanied by momentum in the regulatory landscape as well, as the attitude of federal bodies seems to be shifting toward the possibility of CBDCs. In October 2020, 7 major central banks collaborated on a CBDC Hippocratic oath of sorts, laying out principles for CBDC design. Earlier in the month, the U.S. Treasury's Office of the Comptroller of Currency issued a letter stating that banks can participate in node verification on a blockchain system, which effectively legitimizes blockchains as global financial networks. That is a huge step right there, that the banks are now doing what Bitcoin's been doing since 2009, using blockchain technology in their own internal systems. But if a bank comes out with a blockchain, here's a question. Is it decentralized or is it centralized? Type that answer in the chat box. If a bank comes out with a blockchain, is it centralized or decentralized? You guys are right. It's centralized. Banks love blockchain technology. They don't like Bitcoin. Okay. Different types of CBDCs. There is no one type of CBDC. A wide variety of approaches are being piloted in various countries. One type of CBDC is an account-based model, such as Dcash, which is being implemented in the Eastern Caribbean. With Dcash, consumers hold deposit accounts directly with the central bank. At the opposite end of the spectrum is China's eCNY, a CBDC pilot that relies on private sector banks to distribute and maintain digital currency accounts for their customers. China showcased the ECNY during the 2022 Olympic Games in Beijing. Visitors and athletes could use the currency to make purchases within the Olympic Village. Let me ask another question here. Who would know which country is already best suited based on what they're already doing right now to introduce a CBDC? Type what you think that country is in the chat box. Another model is the one under consideration by the European Central Bank, in which licensed financial institutions each operate a permissioned node of the blockchain network as a conduit for the distribution of a digital euro. A final model, popular with cryptophiles but not yet fully trialed by central banks, is where fiat currency, which is currency that is government issued but not backed by a commodity, would be issued as anonymous fungible tokens to protect users' privacy. You guys all got it right, China. At present, 87 countries, representing more than 90% of global GDP, are exploring CBDCs. Now, here's a closer look. Jamaica's Jamdex launched in June 2022 and is the first CBDC to be ratified formally as legal tender. Is a relatively simple offering with no advanced use cases such as cross-border payment for smart contracts. Jamdex isn't blockchain based, unlike the Bahamas Sand Dollar and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's Dcash. Now, four trends likely spurred central banks' interest in CBDCs. Four trends. One, plummeting cash usage. In Europe, cash usage declined by 1/3 between 2014 and 2021. In Norway, only 3% of payment transactions are made with cash. This trend has forced central banks to re-examine their role in the monetary system. Even in America, Donald Trump is saying we don't need to print pennies anymore. It actually costs more money to print to make a penny than the penny's worth. Growing interest in privately issued digital assets. In the United Kingdom, 10% of adults report holding or having held a digital asset like cryptocurrency. The European Central Bank says that as many as 10% of households in 6 large EU countries own digital assets. Consumer use of digital assets can be viewed as a potential challenge to fiat currency as a unit of measurement for value. Decreasing sense of central banks as payments innovators. CBDCs offer central banks a new opportunity to lead strategic conversations on cash use cases in a public forum. Rising global payment systems. Many central banks seek to establish greater local governance over increasingly global payment systems. Central banks see CBDC as a potential stabilizing anchor of local digital payment systems. There are potential benefits to establishing CBDCs, but they aren't without risk. What are some of the potential benefits of CBDCs? Advocates of digital finance believe that new digital tools, among them CBDCs, can address many issues related to efficiency, security, and access. Reduced costs. Financial service providers stand to save $400 billion annually in direct costs by shifting spending away from physical infrastructure and toward digital finance. But reduced costs must be measured against the significant investments in new technology that CBDCs will require. So let's stop right there for a second. Banks, do you think they're in business to make money or spend money? They want to make money. So if you're telling the banks, look, we're about to save $400 billion annually, then this is the natural next evolution of money. So when I went to London and I visited the London Museum. And there's a wing in that museum that talks about the history of money from the beginning of time and how money evolves over time. That's why the British pound right now is still the oldest active currency still in circulation. You don't see anybody running around with Roman coins anymore. Now, the end of the wall ended with this a physical version of Bitcoin with the Queen of England's face on the opposite side. But however, the next technical evolution of a centralized money is CBDC. From this to the digital version of this. Cryptocurrency is a rebellion, is not necessarily the next evolution of money. It is the next evolution of a complete overhaul of the financial system, moving from centralized to decentralized. But if you stay on the same evolutionary trail that banks, kings, and governments control the money, the next evolution for them to maintain that control is CBDC, which is why the United States inevitably will have a CBDC because the government still wants to maintain control over its money. Now, and I'm not sure if Donald Trump understands that or not, or believes it or not, but it's irrelevant. Again, because the Federal Reserve is the one that's going to make that decision, not the president. Increased speed. CBDC could improve the speed and efficiency of many countries' electronic payment systems. So instead of now, if you want to send money from one bank account to another, especially overseas, and if it's a large amount, it takes a lot of time and money. Western Union, I learned the hard way. I tried to send, it was one thing sending, I think it was anywhere less than $3,000. I went through one regular process. But the moment it went above $3,000, oh, it was a whole other thing, and KYC and knowing who I am and all this, and bringing a proof of my residency and what electricity bill. And I was like, what we gotta do all this for? Well, we want to make sure you're not money laundering and that, if we have to track this back, we know who you are, where you're from. You're not just some random guy trying to send money internationally. But with CBDCs, now transactions can happen that's still centralized and controlled by the banks instantly, saving a lot on fees and time. So now instead of a transaction taking 5 to 7 business days, it happens instantly. So it's going to improve the current system. Greater access. For those without bank accounts, just under 5% of US adults don't have bank accounts. In 2016, there were 1.6 billion unbanked people around the world. CBDCs accessible through mobile devices could potentially increase financial inclusion. And for providers of digital financial services, mobile money presents a gateway into untouched markets. However, adoption isn't a guarantee. Many underbanked people may favor the total anonymity afforded by cash unless they have no choice. Because if you remove all the cash, then they have no choice but to have to use CBDC, which is now bringing the entire global population into the financial system. Heightened security. Deploying a regulated digital currency accessible via mobile devices could potentially enhance payment security by ensuring that a transaction is finalized and unalterable, even without a formal bank account, reducing the chances of fraud. Regulated use of private key cryptography could enable users to sign transactions digitally, reducing the wait time for a transaction to be irreversibly final and giving the parties greater peace of mind. Some concerns around CBDCs. While central banks are enthusiastically exploring the potential of CBDC, there are some challenges to be considered as well. When money becomes digital, it also becomes traceable and therefore taxable. Oh, wait a minute now. McKinsey analysts anticipate this to become a hurdle to voluntary adoption. Okay, I'll say this right now. When CBDCs happen in the United States, it's going to be involuntary. It's going to happen because we have no choice. And I share this in our inner circle that there's going to be a major calamity, whether man-made or natural, that the people will involuntarily but willingly chant for a CBDC. And that's a topic for another day. Now, another issue is a lack so far of technological stability. In January 2022, the digital version of Eastern Caribbean Dcash went offline for 2 months because of technological issues. How many of you have watched or is watching a series that's out right now on Hulu and Disney Plus called Paradise? Anybody seeing that? I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but you will see an example of CBDCs kind of in action. I don't want to give too much away. I'll talk about that another day. There are also concerns that the business case for CBDCs is weak. For one thing, it may take more effort for central banks to develop infrastructure for digital currencies than can be justified by the relatively meager reward. Also, CBDCs may not confer the increased speed as predicted. Many developed countries now activate instant payments using legacy non-blockchain infrastructure. Central banks in some nations, such as Canada and Singapore, have come to the conclusion that there isn't currently a strong case for digital currency. In conclusion, CBDCs raise several questions from their effects on the financial system to geostrategic competition between countries. We are still in a phase in which central banks are studying, analyzing, and experimenting around the development and implementation of this innovative but potentially disruptive tool, raising awareness of what CBDCs are and of their economic and political dimensions. Thus becomes crucial to ensure that citizens are not passive bystanders. While President Trump has signed an executive order banning the development of CBDCs in the United States, most central banks are not expected to issue a CBDC anytime soon. The progress in this space is part of a larger movement that goes beyond the question of whether or not governments should issue digital currency. In tandem with continued momentum in crypto and DeFi, the bigger question is, what is the best combination of payment systems to support the modern economy? It is no coincidence that Bitcoin continues to surprise people and major banks are positioning themselves to be more crypto friendly. By all indications, we're in for an exciting year ahead. And again, when I wrote that, I did not really understand how big stable coins were going to be, but there it is. We're here now. As a disclaimer, this information is intended for educational and training purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. As with all financial decisions, you should contact your licensed financial advisor before investing in any financial instrument. Now, I will share one thing I share in further lessons, not this one, that the reason there is a big movement in the United States, especially on the Republican side, against CBDC is because of something called control. Meaning, if you digitize a digital dollar in the hands of the government will now know every single transaction you make. Do you want that? Not only will they know every single transaction you make, they will have the ability to prevent transactions you make if they don't like how you're spending your money. If they don't like you buying guns, you're not going to be able to buy guns because now you use cash now, but if there's no cash, what if they don't like you buying guns? What if they say, "Oh, you're in debt, and next time you go to Walmart, you want to get a big screen TV?" They say, "No, you can't get that because you actually owe money over here." So you might say, well, government can freeze bank accounts now. They can, but you also can pull your money out in cash and go buy whatever you want, whenever you want, and it's anonymous. Your name is not on the dollar bill when you spend it. But when you have a CBDC, every transaction you make is going to be tracked. So do we want to have the government to have that kind of power? Even for good intent, technology can and always will be used for something that's not good intent. Always is. So that is why the Republican side is completely against having CBDCs or government control over your finances. There was another movie, and I do not remember the name, where it was futuristic and money was in the form of time. And everybody had a wristband, or I think it was a program on their arm that had a clock on it. And you paid for everything with time. And if you ran out of time, you died. And so if you worked, whenever you work, your payment was in more time. Oh, it was called Time? Yeah, it's a movie called Time. Same type of concept. So that's ultimate futuristic. And then I've got those on the Christian side that understand the book of Revelations that says at some point you will not be able to buy or sell or transact any goods without the mark of the beast. And you might say, do we have technology for that now? Yes, we do. You can have implants and you scan it and now, you have access. But what if they deny your access? Well, what alternative do you have? You don't, because you're not going to be able to use this. Anyways, that is the end of our lesson for tonight. And I actually like that flow now that I was able to teach on it, because what my concern is my ability to be able to stop, pause, and give some real world relevance in the lesson. And that was able to do that. So I like that lesson. So I'm going to bring up Miss Costa to do the Q&A. But before I do that, I want to show you guys, for those of you who decide, yeah, I like CBDCs and I need to learn more about it. Let me show you, because we are offering the whole course, what it actually looks like. So if you purchase our courses, I showed this last night. We were on the 3-course bundle. CBDCs. Let me listen to myself for a second on intro to CBDCs. Let me take a listen. 2025 began the year with the swearing in of a new U.S. president. One of his first executive orders was to ban CBDCs. Do you even know what a CBDC is or how it will impact the future of global finance? A total of 130 countries, representing 98% of the global economy, are now exploring digital versions of their currencies, with almost half in advanced development, pilot, or launch stages. This is definitely a topic we cannot ignore. This course examines central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, the digital evolution of fiat money issued by governments. It covers their design, benefits, and potential risks, along with how they differ from cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. This is ideal for anyone interested in the future of money. This course offers a clear understanding of CBDCs and their potential to reshape global financial systems. All right. So topics we have is we did tonight, intro to CBDCs. Then we've got pros and cons of CBDCs, CBDCs versus cryptos, a comparative analysis, global trends in CBDC development, role of central banks in issuing and managing CBDCs, CBDCs and monetary policy, privacy and security concerns in CBDC transactions, CBDC adoption and financial inclusion, cross-border payments and CBDCs, CBDCs in the future of cash, regulatory and legal framework for CBDC, the technology behind CBDCs, countries implementing CBDCs. I remember that's a big one there. So you understand who's in and who's not. The impact of CBDCs on commercial banks and finance, and then public perception and acceptance of CBDCs. So Get your hands on these courses. You go through these courses, you will have a clear understanding of CBDCs, and then you can figure out for yourself, are you for it? Are you against it? But most importantly, you'll be ready for it at the end of the day. All right, so back to Miss Casa to go ahead if we have any Q&A. Oh, wait, wait, I forgot too. We are live on YouTube. So unfortunately, I was being generous last night as we were talking about security. But tonight, I got to shut it off. I got to stop the live stream. Our Q&A is only a privilege for our VIP members. So those of you on YouTube, thank you for watching this live stream with us. We invite you to be a VIP with us, like the cool kids here with us on Zoom, to be able to ask questions about what you just learned. We're going to go, I want to hear about your either questions or your aha moments or comments or any type of feedback. So with that, thank you guys on YouTube for being here, but we're completely not finished yet. We will be back Monday night. Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern is our recap night. But I'm going to be doing the path to success with Bitcoin, how to make money in this space. So we're going to be covering that Monday night, same time, same link, and we'll be streaming it live. So we'll see you back here on Monday night. So with that, also tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, I will be doing an ILCA presentation for those of you who want to know about more about what ILCA is. And my focus though is on the partnership program that we're launching here, because that is I had a eureka moment with that. So we'll be talking about what ILCA is, the partnership program, and I'll be doing a live Inner Circle crypto talk open for the public so you guys can get a good glimpse on what we do in our crypto talks in the morning. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, and everybody's invited. I will be streaming again on YouTube on our YouTube channel, and our VIPs, our inner circle, will be on Zoom with me, just like we are right now. It's not the same Zoom link. So you guys in inner circle, actually, everybody can be on the Zoom. It's BB Crypto. What is that? CryptoChallenge.com. Yeah, bbcryptochallenge.com. You all can hop on Zoom. I still will be streaming on YouTube, but go to bbcryptochallenge.com to join us for the ILCA presentation and followed by Crypto Talk tomorrow morning. All right, with that, thank you guys on YouTube, and I'll see you guys.